2025 Park Board meeting. First we got up is approval of minutes from the last meeting of 9/9/25. Anybody had any notes, comments about the minutes Michael sent out?
That's good.
Hearing none, do I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor? Aye. 4-0. All right, Jared, you're up. We got baseball on tonight for first thing up out of the gate. So I think the biggest questions we have for you is kind of how the season went, how many kids you had.
Sure.
So,
Another record year for number of kids. All told in the league, this is not Ossian, but just under 400. Ossian specifically made up 130 T-ballers, 113 coach pitch, and then 2 Kofax teams with 25 kids on each of those teams, or 25 kids total.
Very nice.
yeah, that's
It's up about, I haven't looked at the numbers before I left, but it's up about 30 kids from the year before that.
So
That's kind of the trend we've been seeing.
so kind of Aussie. We're just about 285, but with Uniondale added in, you're just short under 400.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then with 130 T-ballers, that includes about 80 people per kid, right? For grandparents and aunts and uncles.
right.
It is a full-blown
I gotta
event.
say that's there's a lot of people over
full-blown
there.
event at a T-ball game, which is great. I love it.
Right.
Um,
A lot of chaos.
it makes, parking is a premium, something if we could ever address, we would like to.
So I know they did some kind of work over that area to improve a little bit, but they didn't get too much. But we do have that nice drive where we can park off in the grass a little bit along that drive to opens up that a little bit, but
We've not invited the parking in the grass yet because inevitably we have a wet spring. We don't,
Correct,
that's
yeah.
a slippery slope because not everyone is conscious of that. And if
Right.
we start parking cars
and it's
in
gonna
the T-ball outfields, it's a,
we try to
Yeah.
avoid that as much
Yeah.
as we can, but
and then the stone, along the big diamond there is nice, but it's not ideal because it's still a road. There's still a street.
Yeah, there's still traffic
Yeah.
going, and it's just where everything's located out there. There's just not the greatest parking out
No,
there. Because like you say, you've been going for the big diamond. There's how that's situated. It's
yeah. And then if they're playing in the big diamond, which it's kind of falls on deaf ears, we encourage them not to park over there because
Right.
inevitably there's foul balls that are hit there. But
right.
it happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. I know you've mentioned and talking, you guys are kind of looking to see if you guys can come up with like a grant or funds to do some work out there with the concession stands, correct? The concession stand?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a drawing put together. We've got a contractor working on a quote now. We were hoping to get in front of the Wells County Foundation before their October 15th deadline, but it's just not going to happen. So
No.
we're going to shoot for
The spring
April.
one?
Yeah. Which certainly wouldn't mean anything could happen that quickly, but
No.
it's a place to start. Get an idea of what we think we need to raise, what they think they could match, and
Right.
just have a good understanding of where it's at.
So I'll give you a little feedback on that. Most of the time they're going to be like a 50-50 match.
Which
So
is kind of how we're gearing ourselves to go
yeah,
into it.
so
Yeah.
FYI, just since I've been through that process, it's going to be most of the time it's going to be whatever they are going to do. Is going to be a match. So most of the time
Yeah.
it's 50-50. So
Yeah.
just be prepared for
That's
it.
kind of what we're preparing
And just
for.
depending on which ones you go for is how much they actually give. And
That was
so-
Community Foundation.
Yeah, that was the Wells County Foundation. And there's other ones out there we can, I'm not sure how much Taylor Nickel does on their foundation, because that one's still a local one that they'll do some funds for. And then there's some other grants that may be out there too, that we can help kind of figure out where we're at on that.
Yeah, I don't know, as far as responsibility goes, who's responsible for applying for those grants. I don't know if that's a town thing or a league thing. I don't know the best avenue to present the best argument.
It's
right?
probably gonna be a joint effort, because you have behind the town, the park board, and the league come together as one, it'll
Yeah.
probably help it along tremendously. And like I said, if you have drawings up, you have kind of a total cost. That's the biggest thing. Anybody's gonna wanna know is what that cost is
Yeah.
gonna be. Cause we're running into that situation with the, 124 trail project. It's like the biggest headache we had was trying to figure out what the cost is gonna be. Well, now we got the, kind of a final study done on that, and now we know what the cost is gonna be for that project, and that's now where our next step is, okay, now we need to get up to, from where we were trying to raise money for the study, now we're actually need to raise money for
The
the
project.
actual project. So
Yeah.
now we have that bigger gap that we need to fill, but now we have kind of a better understanding where we're at, and that's where you kind of need to be if you're gonna do anything project-wise is, okay, this is what it's gonna look like to cost us, and that's
Yeah,
what we
work
need
from
to
there.
do.
Yeah, that's, I talked to, Cody Comfort,
Mhm.
he's on the foundation board, and he kinda laid it out for, presenting the best plan, I
Right.
guess, to have a successful event,
Right,
or a successful
grant.
grant, yeah.
There was some work in the spring done as far as like dirt and drainage and all that. Did you have better luck with that?
It was done last fall.
Oh, that's fall.
Yeah, no, that was money well spent. We had a really wet spring, and we really didn't have, we had we set aside a full week for rainouts, and we maximized that, but we didn't have to go past that.
Okay.
And I look back to 2 years ago, and we would have had to start canceling games. So that money was well spent. It does a nice job.
So it's draining way better.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some pockets, but it's 10 times better than what it was. Yeah, I talked to the excavator after the season was over, and there's still a little area that could be improved upon. Maybe taking some of the stone away and just making a path for the water to drain off of the left side of the coach pitch diamond. But he kind of agreed that was something that should have been part of the deal. We'll give it a year, see how it looks, and then go from there.
Okay.
So I think I can get him to come in and touch that up for nothing.
Okay.
I don't know where we're at on this, AJ, but we've talked about somebody looking at the scoreboard out there. Is that something that's been done?
Well, yeah, if we got anywhere on that yet, got any contractors lined up?
We're all too busy
Okay.
right now.
So hopefully that's something we can tackle this winter before springtime, and we'll keep after trying to find somebody that'll be. I got a good idea where the break is yet, so I know
Yeah.
I've got pictures of that. So when it comes to it, we just need to find somebody out there. They may end up deciding, we're just gonna do all new or whatever, and not worry about trying to find the break underground, and just kind of run new is probably gonna be the best. I'm not sure. I don't know where I got it in the back of my head about scoreboards, but somebody might have mentioned about looking at getting some new scoreboards too out there. I'm not sure.
They're not that old. I mean, you might have a better idea of how old they are, but they're LED.
Are they LED?
I'm sure at least one of them is. I
Okay.
think they were both replaced at the same time. When they have power, they work just fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it's a replacement.
It's
We
just
gotta
more of
get
it.
power.
Just get power
Yeah.
out to them. Okay.
It's gotta
Yeah,
be, I'm gonna guess at least, because Uniondale, is this year 3 that Uniondale and Osseo conjoined?
oh man.
I think it is.
It-
If that's the
it
case,
might
and
even
then
be
Del Garza
4.
had 2 ahead of them or before them, and those were there when he took over. So we're talking at least 6-7 years.
Yeah, I mean, I would say they might even be 10 years old,
Probably.
but they're not. I mean, they work.
They work. They just
Yeah.
need. We just need to make sure the power's there to
Yeah,
run 'em.
and then educate everybody on how to turn them on. That's kind of why, as it would be powered up right now, you have to have a key to turn them on and things
Right.
like that. We'd rather have it
Yeah, on a
ready,
right, on a breaker.
flip a breaker, and it's easy to manage.
Right.
We're not losing keys, things like that.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because both of them are kind of in the concession stands. This is where we kind of want the breakers. Correct.
Yeah, on the large diamond, I'm not as familiar as I should be, so I really don't know where that power is fed from.
Okay.
But certainly having something local to the concession stand or home plate area is
Right.
ideal. Having to walk around to that pole to turn them on
Yeah.
is kind of cumbersome. Just not designed very well. But yeah, and when we were in temporary power there and ran it off of a generator, I mean it only pulls a couple amps, so they're they're easy to power, we just gotta
Right.
get it there.
Right, just gotta get the,
Mhm.
okay, so they're only, you think 10 amps is all they take?
I think the one we dug into was only like three.
Okay,
Yeah.
so they must be LEDs then.
Yeah, yeah, they are.
So-
At least the small diamond is.
Okay,
I didn't dig into the big diamond very much.
because that one works, correct?
The large diamond?
Yeah. Or we don't know.
I don't know.
Okay,
And I say I don't know, like I'm not sure anyone knows how to operate it.
okay,
Maybe more so than it doesn't work. We just gotta figure out how it works.
okay. So you guys haven't been really needing to use that one, is that what it is, or?
I mean, on that diamond, we use it for practice really more than games. There's only two
Okay.
teams that play on them, and half their games are away.
Okay,
I think that number's going to grow, though. I think that we'll continue to see as our the smaller age groups,
Right.
or the younger age groups get
Move
bigger. Yeah, it needs to work,
Right.
but to say it probably didn't get used, very often.
okay.
But it would be nice if it did. Yeah.
So that's something we probably need to put down on the list for somebody to go out there and check, is make sure that big scoreboard's working. Because we know the small diamond is just electrical wire out
Correct.
there is broken underneath the ground, and
Right.
we just need to fix that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can hopefully get somebody out there one of these days and check that one. So if we had to do something about that one too, we do it at the same time as both.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I know the one thing we've always kind of talked about is we need to kind of, for next year, we need to see what we can do for restrooms out there, a little bit more, a couple more pour pits, especially out by the T-ball diamond. We need
Yeah.
at least one or two out there.
Historically, we've had had one sponsored,
Mm-hmm.
but one's probably not enough.
Right.
I mean, like you mentioned, there's 300 people at a T-ball game,
Oh, yeah.
so we probably do need, at least on a temporary basis, have a couple porta potties over that direction,
Okay.
something easily accessible so they can get in and clean them, as they're scheduled. I don't know how that schedule works, but yeah, that would certainly be great if we could get that done. That's yeah. Until we get something permanent there,
Right.
it's a problem.
Yeah, because we have that kind of other areas in the parks that we kind of talked about too.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else got any questions for Jared with baseball and how their season went?
Do you have any trouble getting sponsors for the teams, or was that pretty easy?
No, we did. We actually had a really good year in regards to sponsors for the teams, and then we did more field sponsors this year than we've ever done, probably by double. I think that's a testament to the board. Been out and pushing it a little bit, but yeah, no, we were very fortunate in that we didn't have any trouble.
Okay.
And I hope it's in the budget to continue to hire Don, but he did a fantastic job on the diamonds, better than they've ever looked. And that's not against Ron.
Right.
Don just had more time.
Yeah.
It probably costs more money to have him do it, but he did a great job. He takes a lot of pride in it.
I think the biggest thing, he takes pride in it, and
Yeah,
that's why I think Dennis kind of pushed for him to come out and do it. But
yeah,
I think in our budget for next year, there is line items for the diamonds to take care of that. So I think the plan is for Don to be back out there next
Good,
year. So.
yeah. And he
I think
was
he-
there on Saturdays. He was
Yeah.
there almost every night. I was up there. He was just checking on things, making sure everything.
Yeah.
It seems like, and I don't know that it was necessarily his responsibility or whose responsibility, but the permanent restrooms behind the large diamond late in the season, they were pretty gnarly.
Okay.
I mean, they need
They need to work.
they need work. Again, I'm hoping that we can alleviate that by putting up a new concession stand and,
Right.
and totally eliminating those. But I mean, they were pretty nasty by the end of the year. Just not sure whose responsibility it really was.
Yeah, that's
Probably
kind of
something that.
probably just got overlooked.
Yeah,
so
right,
We need
yeah.
to put that down. Make sure when that comes around next year, those are not getting overlooked.
Mhm. And then I don't know. I'm not a structural engineer by any stretch, but the block bleachers on the big diamond, I'm afraid that have lived their life. One set of them has already been taken down. There used to be two sets, one on the left side, one on the right
Left
side.
side.
Now the only one is left on the first base side, and I mean,
I'd
biggest
say-
fear is some, having that thing full of people and something happening. So we just need to make sure we inspect them or,
Okay.
I mean,
I can remember they were,
Demo them.
yeah, but I mean, everything's got a price tag to it.
It's
But
ancient. I think it's ancient.
yeah, I guess I remember as a kid those being out there, so that tells you.
Right, and I think some of the cinder blocks are cracking and starting to, fall apart a little bit. So something we need to
look
consider.
at and kind
Yeah.
of see what we need to do there if we need to. Because right now on the, what would that be, the north side, the third base line, that's just got some 3-row metal
Yeah.
bleachers right now.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
So I know it takes away a lot of seating when you kind of go from the blocks, what we had right now to that. You lose some, but
Yeah. I don't know that seating. I mean, again, there's just not a ton of games played there.
Okay.
I don't know that seating is
gonna be
at
an
a
issue.
premium right now. Yeah.
Okay.
As we continue to grow and more teams are playing there, I
And
hope
maybe-
I hope it's a problem.
Okay.
But right now, if we just replaced it with a 3-row bleachers similar to what's on the third base side, I think we're okay.
Okay.
I wouldn't see we'd have to put something as big as what's there to replace
Currently,
it. Yeah.
and if we plan for the future.
And a lot of people bring bag chairs and
Right.
Yeah.
stretch themselves around there
Right.
too.
Right.
So.
Yep.
Okay. Anything else? I think we got pretty much all the information we needed. The biggest thing I know we were always kind of curious about is like how many kids were out this year. And like
Yeah.
I said, it's good to see the T-ball and coach pitch have that many kids. And like you said, that should hopefully carry over to
The upper leagues.
the upper
Yeah.
leagues and that
And
continue
it,
that.
and it probably will. I mean, we're always going to lose a handful as they get older. They realize
Right.
baseball's not their thing. We lose, maybe a dozen kids that play travel ball that we used to play at the lower levels, play exclusively travel ball. But no, I do think we're going to see those numbers start to plateau. I mean, the town's only so big.
Right.
We're not moving in 10 families a month.
No.
But as the additions continue to grow,
Right.
I bet we'll see some more, hopefully see some more growth, but
Right.
that presents its own set of problems with field space and things like that.
Right.
So,
Especially, I know it's going to be, if you keep your own, you're going to have to, we as an athlete, have to start thinking about parking and how to
yeah.
get that kind of stuff addressed. And
I don't know, I mentioned it to the revitalization committee, and I don't know, what capacity they have, but if we could stone an area, I would say to the east of the T-ball diamonds, off of that new road that went in, that would provide a lot of parking
okay.
to accommodate that. I worry about people having cars on both sides of the streets and still passing.
Right.
If someone would get hurt, I mean, that would just be catastrophic
Right.
for everybody. If we could think about doing that, I kind of mapped out, and I don't know the numbers, maybe 150 feet by 75 feet, and have just a stone pad, doesn't have to be asphalt,
Right.
off of that new street. That would alleviate a lot of that. We're not, T-ballers aren't hitting balls out that far.
No.
Even if we put a 4-foot fence up along it to kind of help corral.
Right. You're not going to
That-
have the T-ballers hitting
No.
home runs. And,
Not too many of them. So, again, everything costs money.
Yeah.
I
but
realize that.
the sooner we know kind of stuff and kind of get plans figured out, we can address it and not like say next year, but in several years from now that we can, okay, we got this game plan. This is the direction we need to go. Because that's the hardest thing. If you don't have a game plan or direction we need to go, you can't address anything. You're like, okay, yeah we know about it, but what are we going to do? But
Sure. Yeah.
the more information we can gather and get from there, we can, okay, yeah, now we know we need to go this direction. So,
On projects like that, do they have to go out to public bid? We have 3 excavating families within the league. I don't know how that has to work.
does it have if it's a donation? It don't have to, does
Not
it?
if it's a donation.
If it's like a donation, like you guys raise the funds or find somebody who wants to donate, I don't think so. We just have to get approval from the town board on those kind of projects. But if it's a donation, no. Now, if it was using taxpayer funds at a certain rate, a certain amount of money, I was looking at the numbers a couple weeks ago, and I can't remember it now, but at a certain amount, the state requires you to have
Yeah.
bids and stuff like that. But if it's a donation, I don't think we had to have bids, so
Okay.
if you got people interested and that would be willing to donate the
I mean, they may be able to
supplies
just
and,
do it. I don't know. We haven't broached that topic. You know,
Okay.
we're trying to get this concession stand a little
Right.
more.
I think that's probably your priority right now,
Yeah,
is it?
correct.
Okay. And that's fine, and like you said, again, if it's something, hey, we could do this or do that type of thing.
Yeah.
And
Maybe we'll
again-
piggyback the projects together, but
Right,
stone pads seem to cost more than they should.
right,
That's kind of why I mentioned if we could do it ourselves or something like that. But
Yeah.
if any, even if the town covered the stone, it would still have to go out to bid if we provide the labor or not.
it's just, I think it just depends on the cost of what that is, cause a certain amount is just, hey, it's gonna be this much to do it, and if it meets a certain threshold, is whether they could just, hey, we got this right here, or
Mhm.
otherwise, if it's over a certain amount, they have to put it out for bid.
Okay.
Or you could have the stone delivered in 4 different deliveries, and then you get under that amount. That's what the federal government does.
Yeah, and there's ways around it, you just gotta figure out what your
I'm
amount
going to play
is.
by the rules, but I also know if we hired somebody like Brooks to come in, it's a $40,000 project, something that
Right. And I
does not
think-
need to cost $40,000.
And I think that's when you start going out for bid too, so,
Okay.
yeah.
What do we need to do to get the existing concession or the shed underneath the town umbrella? Because right now, it is still owned by the league.
Did we carry the insurance on that last year, or is it, since it was still under the league?
I don't think so.
Okay. So the biggest thing is we just have to have documentation saying you guys have turned it over to the town of Osseo, and then at that point, we can make sure it's under our insurance,
Okay, so
town insurance.
in the instance, which we need to do, I
Right.
mean, because as it would be right now, it's not insured. It's
Right.
paid for, but not insured.
Right,
If vandalism or something like that would happen, God forbid, it's going to be a loss.
right,
We need to turn that over to you. But let's say that we get down the road and we're $5,000 short of our goal.
right.
Can you then turn it back over to us and we sell it? Because it's worth something to someone.
Right.
It's not going to be worth what we paid for it, but it's still in great condition, of course. How does that work if we would gift it to you?
We'll ask the lawyer on that one. I don't know how that will work.
Okay. I mean,
So-
once it's in under your umbrella, maybe it has to stay.
Right,
That kind of changes things for us.
Right,
Maybe
right.
we get a side policy to just cover it for the next year.
right.
Um,
Yeah, we can ask we can send a message and see what the rule is on that, because like I said, I don't know off the top of my head how that,
right. And I would hate to give it to you, even though we have no problem with it.
Right.
And then I can't get it back, or I can't get the funds back.
right,
Now maybe you can sell it as the town and just write a check back to the league or
Right.
to the general contractor for the bill. I don't know how.
right,
We gotta kind of figure that out before we just give it up and can't get it back.
correct, yeah,
This is the small one out,
by the little.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We
okay.
it
Just making
serves
sure.
right now as concession
the
stand.
mobile concession stand.
Yeah, right, yeah, yeah.
That's something we can kind of look into and. Yeah, no, the biggest thing is if you guys can, I know you're working on to get the numbers, get us kind of the final numbers, the drawings and stuff like that, so we can see that and be able to present it to the town and, like you say, asking, hey, this is gonna be, they're gonna try to raise all their donations and stuff like that, and maybe we can see what we can do to help with that, because again, that is for the park, so.
Mhm.
So yeah, if you can get those kind of the numbers rounded up and that drawing and what you guys are thinking to us, that way we can,
Yeah, we're hoping by the end of the month we have something back. The three concerns, but two is going to be getting sewage out there.
Right.
I've talked to Dennis, and he's even mentioned it to the engineering firm that they use, maybe Engineering Resources. Again, they have a number tied
Right.
to it, but it's several $100,000, and that's. I would like to think that, we can buy the pipe and do that, ourselves or do it more cost effective than that.
Right.
But I don't know, where we need to tap into. I just don't know the layout of the sewage grid in that area to see
Right.
what makes the most sense. Water's gonna be easy, it's right there.
Right.
Power's already there, we're not really concerned about that. But then the third concern is, does this have to go to the state for approval? Can we?
I think that the only thing with the state is if we're using any type of state money, I think. So the only thing if we're using taxpayer money and we're using state funds, that's the only time the state has to take a look at it. We still have to meet ADA compliance, that's a federal.
Okay,
rule.
which we've drawn it to
Meet
to
that.
meet that, yep.
Because it currently does not meet that. As long as we leave it as is, we're fine.
Yeah, no, and we want to.
Right.
I mean, we want it to be decent.
Right.
And then as time goes on, this may be the Ossian portion of it, or the parks portion is winding the trail or trails to make it accessible.
Right.
Because right now, yeah, it may be ADA compliant in the building.
Right.
But I can't get a wheelchair to it.
No, because it's
You
just a
know,
lot of gravel and everything out
yeah,
there.
gravel and grass, exactly. So those are things we kind of have to figure out as we go along.
Right.
I know that's the trail's a totally different budget than everything else.
Right. Yeah. Everything's. We just got to figure out where we need to be and where we got to go. And
Yeah.
like I said, we got other projects we're kind of looking at and trying to figure out. But we need to get. The biggest thing is we have to have numbers to even figure out what direction we need to go.
Sure.
So if we had like an idea, hey, this is what it's going to cost, then we got to factor in, okay, we got to do all the hookups, and this is what's going to cost that.
Mm-hmm.
That way we can say, okay, well, the league's going to try to raise some funds. They're going to try to go after the Wells County Foundation. I'm not sure what other grants are out there, but we could try to see what other grants we can hit up. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure.
Does Ossian, the term is not Title I, but I'm going to use Title I because that's the language I know. Is Ossian a low income demographic? So as I'm researching a lot of grants, that's a lot of times that's like the dividing line is if you fall into
The medium,
Title I.
right? If the medium income meets a certain criteria,
right, yeah. 'Cause there's a lot of grants out there surrounding that. Don't know how easily they are accessible. We were kind of hoping to work to get the grant ready for Wells County Foundation and use that
Right.
as a template,
Right,
and
for
some of these
other
other, yeah. And that's something we'll work together on. But I just, those are questions I don't know that I know the answer to.
we can have Crystal look into that and see if we fall into that category.
Uh-huh.
I know it's different for my numbers when I look at Jefferson Township because of the trailer park sits outside of town of Ossian. So that's
Yeah.
with my numbers. I see yes, our median income falls a little bit lower, but that's different for the town of Ossian.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing with my assessed value of Jefferson Township compared to the town of Ossian is different too. My assessed value for just Jefferson Township is higher than Ossian, but that's again a lot of different factors into that.
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
so like I said, the numbers I see, yes, but then again, I don't look at fully of Ossian
Just
either.
Ossian. Yeah.
I don't look at just Ossian. I look at the bigger township. I
Mhm.
look at my numbers. So
And I don't know how easily they are. You can spend a lot of time and effort writing grants for nothing.
right, correct,
But I suppose we have to start somewhere.
correct. We got to start somewhere, and
Yeah.
as long as we have a plan and numbers in front of us, it makes it easier to
Yep.
go after stuff and keep applying. So.
Yep.
Like I said, there's even, with the Wells County Foundation, there's even some stuff they can figure out, oh, we can get this grant to help you guys out. And
Okay. Yeah.
because they've done that with the trails is, like, we end up getting one from Eli Lilly that goes through the foundation, but it's not a foundation one, it's the real Eli Lilly. So
Okay.
there's other ones in the state that could help out too, but like I said, the foundation is a good resource for that kind of stuff too.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. We're gonna lean on them pretty hard when the time comes and
okay.
let them help us because they are.
Right.
They're very helpful people.
Yes, they are.
So yeah, we'll lean on them pretty hard.
Okay. Anything else?
Congratulations on a successful season.
Thank you. It was a successful season. A little hectic at times, but
Right.
it was pretty successful, and we do a decent job, better than we have probably ever
Right.
in asking for feedback from our families and from players and things like that. And there's always tweaks, but everyone's pretty pleased. So we're happy to hear that.
Okay. Well, thank you for your time, Jared, and
Yeah. Get out of here.
get out of here.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to Not too much more in the summer concert series. Talked with some people. If somebody wants to spearhead anything with donations on that, we can always try to do more concert series, but I think, me personally, I don't have the time anymore to try to spearhead getting donations for that kind of stuff. If somebody else wants to, or a couple people want to start looking into that, we can do that. But as the way it's looking right now, we might just kind of bypass that this year and see how things settle out. But if anybody else is interested in looking at going out and getting donations for that, we can try it again. I don't have an issue of trying to line up bands or anything like that. That's not the hard. That's kind of the easier part of things compared to getting the donations. So
I said, I went around to every business in town and only one of them gave like $200 that
Right.
I'm aware of, so.
yeah, and that's the issue, is just trying to get those funds. And I said people were just kind of trying to figure out. There's so many other ones going on that I think is best for Aussie. And yeah, I know we got that nice pavilion, and I think we're just leaning towards not doing anything for next year's. But if we got any organizations interested in, if we can hit up places or people that want to bring in something, we can open it up and work with them on maybe cutting some park fees or something like that. If they want to come in and do something with like the local schools or something like that.
I do think we probably need to make some kind of a social media post on that plan, just
Okay.
from a transparency perspective. If it gets to, next spring and summer and you
And
start,
people are,
where is it? Who's coming?
Right.
And I think we just need to be transparent about, hey, attendance wasn't quite what we thought it would be, and it was very expensive to do this, and we're in the current economic environment, there's not as many donations, and
we think
if somebody may come in and be like, well, I'll let it up, and we
Right.
can form a subcommittee and they can run with it.
correct. And that's, yeah, well, so I'll try to get that done and get that posted about kind of where we're leaning towards on that. Like I said, there's some great other local communities doing concerts, so it's like there's not a lack of concerts coming in, whether it's Decatur, Markle, Bluffton. I think Warren's doing stuff. So it's just there's not a lack of concerts coming through anymore. There's plenty of them. So anybody else have anything for that? Trails. I don't have any really major update on that, just because of the grant funding, especially through the federal government. Even the state has been cut way back. That's kind of just slowed down tremendously for anything trails wise. Like I said, the biggest project we're working on with the Wells County Trails right now is the State Road 124 project. We got, like I said, we got the engineering study back. It's looking like that's a $1.2 million project, and we raised close to $100,000. So yeah, there's a big funding gap there. So, and that's only, I can't remember how many mile stretch that is, like a 3-mile stretch, maybe not even that. And that's, you got to think about it, that's 1.2. But we also got where that trail is running along there. We're going to go the north side, it looks like, but you got that big old dip by the cemetery. That's why it drives that cost a little bit higher, is because you got that dip, and there's some other. And that's one of the things you always got to look at is what obstacles are you going to run into with any trails. And that's the same thing when we do trails expansion here in the town of Ossian, is what are we going to run into? Or are you going to have, we have 8 Mile Creek. That's going to be the biggest, I know, cost of bridging that gap between the southern part of Ossian and the northern part, is we got to cross that 8 Mile Creek, and it's a big enough gap that's going to be quite expensive. So, because they talked about, hey, could that iron bridge in Veracruz, like they talked about, oh, could Ossian take that for that, crossing that, but it's too short. That iron bridge is too short for the 8 Mile Creek, because you have to have either put it towards one side and have another bridge come in and fill a gap, or you have to have 2 approachments coming into that bridge, and it's just cost wise, that's why the state's kind of handling that bridge and Not sure what the status is on that, but that bridge will eventually go away and it's not gonna be in Wells County anymore, is what the last I'm hearing. But I know with trails, that's what we're gonna run into is, especially for talking with us here in Ossian, is we kinda know it's gonna go on the east side of one, goes through the communities there to hit Archibald Wilson, and then Archibald Wilson plan up to hit, where did I go, blank, Melching, and then from Melching go, kinda get back up to one and head north, with allowing us to kinda connect the other parts along the way to try to make a giant loop for Ossian is the eventual goal, but again, we gotta figure out. We're many years away from that and trying to figure out funding for that projects. Anybody else have any questions on trails? I can't remember on the community engagement survey where I know I made my post, but I completely spaced about making sure if my last post included about we're listening to you and.
I think the last thing we talked about is there's just more cost in a lot of this that people don't understand, and
Right.
trying to communicate that out as simple as, hey, a water fountain, let's just do it. Well,
Yeah.
you have $5,000 to do something like
Correct.
that. So,
Then you gotta run water and there's no water right there, you gotta run the lines and that's the biggest thing is getting at least the feedback from the community of what they would like to see, and then now we have that idea, but now it's like, okay, how can we address that? If nothing else on community engagement survey as of right now,
Are those water fountains, is that something that you could go to the foundation for?
it could be. I think we looked at, there's another grant opportunity that may be a little bit, we can look at, but we have to have the kind of a good idea of what numbers would run, what it would be to install. But yeah, we can go for that grant. We can go to, there was one we looked at, about to see if it's going to be available for next year. It may not be available for 2027 because the way that company's sounding is, but that company's still around for 2026. We don't know how they're going to look in 2027 with the ongoing way they're looking, what they're planning on doing. So it is something if we get some numbers around, we can go figure out, hey, we can go for this grant. Again, like the Eli Lilly has stuff out there. We just got to, I think we get numbers in hand, we can try to push for some of that stuff. I don't think we have any update on the park pavilion kind of with the engineer or anything looking at that yet either, have we?
I mean, that's gonna have to be a total
That's gonna be a total.
raise money, and like,
Correct.
there's nothing in the budget for it, so.
There's nothing in the budget for that. There's nothing in the budget for a lot of things.
Right.
There's not a,
I'm just saying that conversations we've had about, getting more parking there and an indoor facility, like, none of that is feasible. In
no,
the near
but if we
future.
get in front of the town council, be like, hey, stop cutting our budget, we need these projects done to help improve your community. You wanna bring more people to Ossian, it's like, you gotta start looking at this stuff,
Right.
yeah. And it's just the thing, we just gotta get these things in front of the board and be like, hey, this is the needs of the community. But I think the board understands now that, hey, that pavilion is a big issue and it needs to be dealt with. Has anything been addressed out Archibald Wilson about the, like the safety boxes out there by the pond with those?
I think I got that taken care of.
Okay. Did we get that one flagpole light fixed or is that?
No, we have to rent the scissor lift to do that.
For the flagpole light? Because it's on the ground.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking.
Oh, no,
I thought you were talking.
that's the bird nest one.
Oh, okay.
The bird nest, yeah, we'll have to they'll have to probably rent the scissor
Yeah.
lift on that one.
I think they got that one too, yes.
Flagpole light, okay.
Yeah, I was thinking the other.
Okay. Anything else about Archibald Wilson?
Just for that breaker 21.
Oh yeah, Breaker 21, did we ever get that looked at?
No, we have not.
Okay.
We'll have to get somebody for that.
And one of the safety boxes was open a couple days ago, the southwest one.
Okay, we'll put that down and have them. looking at that one. You know, probably got kids out there playing around and,
Yeah, we've got a lot of kids doing stuff.
Yeah.
Is there a timeline or like for maintenance on that trail out there for like sealing cracks or doing anything out there?
I don't
Some
think
of those
so.
cracks are getting pretty healthy.
Some
Are
of
they?
the cracks are pretty big and it's not only going this way, they're going this way.
Oh, they're,
And there's
Yeah.
gonna be safety issues with, somebody's gonna trip over it.
and that's just the trail, the circle trail around Archibald
Yeah.
Wilson, is it?
Yeah.
Most
And
of
Worst
Right.
on the east side.
Yeah, it's mainly over towards the bridges.
Yeah, and most of them are,
It's all the bridges full.
most of
So
them
I'm
are within
here.
a foot and a half of the edges.
I'm
So
down there.
Okay.
You
Dang.
know.
I just wonder if
Golf
it's from
carts.
people driving on it.
Some of the
I'm not really
areas,
sure. if it-
Is it?
the areas that I've been on, it's not where the
It's
golf
south.
carts
Golf
are
carts
supposed to be.
Right,
But it, you know, it's different places, but it seems like most of it is over there on the east side.
Okay.
well, I'm not sure who, there's a guy in a light blue pickup truck, I'm assuming he works for the city. But he drives his pickup truck all over that trail, I think he's checking garbage cans or
Okay.
something.
Yeah.
It could be.
Oh, and the library truck does too, they drive on it. When
Yeah.
they go out to change their signs for
signs.
the.
There's been several city utility trucks that I've seen on the trails.
Yeah.
It's definitely not meant for vehicles, and there's
No, and there's
multiple,
multiple vehicles on there.
including
Yeah.
some people that are normally in this room.
Okay.
Not it.
Not me.
Alright, so that's probably something we need to start looking into addressing, because that's, if it's getting big and serious, that's gonna be a safety issue, and especially with kids like riding their scooters and
Well, some of those that are like this, I mean, it's a good inch.
inch, is it? Yeah, it's definitely needs
It's
to
getting
be.
bad.
We'll have to start looking at that.
What would be, if we're gonna do any work on that longer term, one of the things that's nice on trails is if you have the path itself, but then you do kind of like a sand buffer on each side. That helps a little bit, with if people wanna walk on the side over there and
Okay.
not be in the middle, cause we've talked about scooters and all that flying.
Right.
I've seen that on many trails and quite a few people enjoy walking on that instead of just the pavement.
Okay. And see, that's the thing, people tend to forget about some of these projects, so there's maintenance that needs to be done.
Right.
You know, we've done the golf path through golf courses,
Mhm.
and these guys built a machine that was just as wide as they needed.
Yeah,
Put the concrete, a couple guys have done asphalt, and just stays right on the trail, it's not a huge thing.
yeah, that's, I think that's probably what they did, is just, it's probably just that time, because how old is that trail now? It's over 10 years? Is it that old? Maybe it's not that old.
It's been there as long as I remembered. I've been here for 12.
Thing.
I thought has it been redone lately? Hasn't it? Okay.
No, it has not. I don't think it's been since they put it in.
I mean, I forget what the timetable was, but that access drive, there was talk about how, like, what type of asphalt you use, and it wasn't a super long time where they said you're gonna start having some issues, especially with, you know, it just being kind of grass on both sides and some settling and.
And it's just, you have that naturally over time anyways with anything. It's just,
Yeah.
like I say, it's been, since it's been put in, I don't think it's ever had any maintenance done to it, so it's probably just time to, again, with our limited funds, we gotta figure out what's our priority and what's our, how do we address that?
I mean,
Because that's always the conversation, especially we have what happens to the trails outside of Bluffton to Ossian. Because you got that big old stretch from Bluffton to Ossian. Who's going to be in charge of that? Who's going to take care of that? And it's then when you get to Ossian, yeah, Ossian can hopefully handle what's inside of Ossian, but then from Ossian to Fort Wayne, the Allen County line, who handles that?
Right.
Because we know in Allen County it's either going to be Fort Wayne trails or, and that's, like you said, with the, we had to do that with the Veracruz boat launch. We got money set aside for future maintenance, and replacing of signs that get broken, which is not fun.
I mean, from this specific thing we're talking about, if I'm town council, it's a lot easier to put money towards something that's a safety concern that
Correct.
may get me in trouble when somebody,
Falls and breaks a
Yeah.
leg, yeah.
Yeah.
And like I said, that's easy to bring up, like, hey, we need to address this, especially sooner than later. If it's a, like you're saying, 1 inch gap between where it's settled, we'll probably need to get out there and take looks at that, make sure it's what we need to do to correct that.
And some of the bigger ones, you can almost dump a bag of asphalt in and use a hand tamper just to pack it in. They're pretty wide.
Okay. All right, anything else for the Archibald Wilson Pavilion or trails or going back and forth on that? All right, we'll move on to our favorite thing. Park fees for 2026. So I'm kind of I just threw these numbers together, kind of throw them out there, kind of see how we want to structure for next year. In no means or any way do these have to be the correct numbers, but it just allows us to open up the conversation how we want to go about setting up for next year. Because right now, there is no set fee to run a park. So like if an organization wants to use the whole park, there's no set fee for anybody. Like Bluffton has that. So like if somebody wants to rent out Lancaster Park in Bluffton, there's a certain fee that they charge to rent that whole park. And that's just to basically somebody's taking that park away from the publicly used as way. They have that fee in there. So it's like, hey, you want to use it, you're going to have to pay because you're taking it away from other people. So that's kind of where I threw that out there. Say if an organization wants to come in and use the whole park instead of just a pavilion. So like if the circus wants to come into town, well, there's going to be a cost involved for us to mow the yard. Any cleanup afterwards, that's where that kind of those fees come into play. Whether or not anybody actually does it, that's a different question. We just got to kind of just trying to open up the conversations about, hey, where do we need to, especially with the shortfall. Did everybody get the budget for 2026 and they're paying for it?
I haven't had that one.
Oh, you only had the one? Okay. I'll email this out to you guys tonight. Our total budget for 2026 is $36,992. So that's all our budget is for 2026. The biggest thing they took out was the employee. So we don't have any wages in there. The only wages we have is for the diamond. So that's where we're talking about Don Lockwood. He's the one who ended up taking care of the ball diamonds this year. There's still money in there for him to take care of the grounds, but there's no money in there for anybody else. So we don't have a maintenance staff person in the budget. That's where most of the funds went. I think everything else kind of stayed the same, right?
I think most of it did.
So we still have some money sitting around for next year for the other areas of the parks, but yeah, they cut our budget for the
so what
parks.
is who's responsible for general park maintenance of,
So
okay,
that's-
there's now trash cans and
Yeah.
emptying those and,
So I think what they're gonna do is Crystal's got to try to make it work for next year, kind of like she did this year with
Yeah.
pulling guys off the other task for the city and,
We will have to hire another guy. The guy that was doing it quit in
Mhm.
September. So I will hire another part-time guy in probably April. And he will work from April till probably September.
and it's just, there's, from my understanding, there's gonna be there's funds available for the parks. It just won't be in the budget, so it's gonna be pulled from another area or from previous funds that have been left over. We'll just have to appropriate it and transfer funds is what it's gonna be for next year. So that's another reason why we're kind of had to open the discussion about what we want to talk about park fees and scheduled uses and to make up for, I know it sucks, but we got to make up for the shortcomings somewhere. And we just have to open that discussion because like I said, I know Bluffton's raised some of their rates for next year already. And they've had this good discussion about how they rent out their parks, and so it's just not outside of the scope of what other areas are doing for their parks. Now, how we do the structure is a little bit, probably gonna be different, but, anybody have any questions about where I was kind of trying to pull these numbers from? And
Is there any consideration for discounts under any circumstances or waiver of fees for, say, July 4th or things like that?
I think there's something in there currently if we wanted to waive.
We do for like nonprofits, we
Right.
have church, and for churches,
Mhm.
like church.
Because I think it's always at the discretion of the park board if we want to, say, waive it for July 4th.
Usually, we have charged,
Yeah.
they pay.
You're right. And that's the thing is, we can waive it if we wanted to, and it's just up to our discretion of that organization will need to come towards us and like, hey, we see what this is, what's going to be rent. So like, they want to do July 4th right now. Archibald Wilson, that they just want to do on July 4th, it's going to be $1,500 for them to rent it. Now they can come to us and ask, hey, can we work out something? It's our discretion whether or not we help them out. But again, we just got to look at we got a shortcoming in the budget. Way tax dollars are looking the next several years. It kind of sucks that we're gonna have to start charging more for fees or start charging for that we haven't done in the past. But
Yeah, I think we'd have to be cognizant of some of what that may look like, and like, I'm not saying this would be the case, but let's say we don't work with a group that wants to come in July 4th, for example. The story becomes, we're trying to take away a community event for $1,500.
Right.
It's like,
right,
I think we've got to be wise in how we're doing that. I think there is actual cost for the town to do those kinds of
Correct.
things, and so we want to be
and that's what we have to be wise about too. Is
Right.
like, hey, we got to look at both sides of it, and it's like,
right.
okay, maybe we'll do something for that group that wants to come in, but we're not going to go to a $0 cost. We're like, you're still going to have to charge you a little bit because we still have a cost involved of,
Right.
we have to mow the yard type deal. It's a special event. And that's where some of these fees are coming into play is like, hey, it's a special event. We have to do a little bit more excess to help you guys out. And that's why, like, for the pavilion rentals and stuff like that, I know in the past we haven't rented out the mulching, maplewood, and sandalwood, but we've had people ask about renting that stuff out. It's like, as of right now, it's a first come, first serve. So if you want to show up at 7 o'clock and put your name on that, you can. But if we have something out there for people who want to rent them, then we can take that money. Okay, they rented it for this. We can set that money aside for future development of those pavilions or parks or what we got going on. And that's kind of where my thought process was with setting us up like I did. Is it just opens it up. Say somebody wants to rent Maplewood. I had somebody ask earlier this year what they could do to rent out Maplewood. And I was like, well, right now it's just first come, first serve. But for next year, we could say, yeah, for a 4-hour block, you want to rent Maplewood's Pavilion, it's $20. For the full day, it's $40. So it's reasonable, not outrageously priced, but it allows us to open up. Hey, now we got people using it, and maybe we see a need. Hey, there's a lot more people using that than what we thought, and now there's some money building up that we can do some improvements to those.
Where's the rental line item for balloon animals by AJ?
Everybody
Is
gets
that a supplement to the renting out the pavilion?
right. That's a supplement. That's as long as everybody likes steaks.
I think it's a good step to take of just having something in place.
Right.
'Cause having nothing looks really bad too.
Right.
Just show up and hope
Right.
nobody takes your stuff.
Right, exactly. And like I said, it just opens it up for us. I know the big one down here is the baseball diamond fees. So my thinking under this, if you see it structured differently than it's ever been before, because like this year was a one flat fee. there's some days out there they only use the big diamond 2 nights a week. So instead of them having full access to the diamond for that whole, they had an 8-week season, or is
I
it?
think it's longer than that.
Yeah, so instead of having, say, that blocked out for 10, 12 weeks for every single night, and they're not using it, well, this structure here opens up, okay, they're going to use the big diamond 2 nights a week. Well, 3 other nights of the week or weekends could be opened up for somebody else. Is kind of my thinking here. If I did my numbers correctly, like I know they use the little diamond 5 nights a week and some Saturdays. The same thing with T-ball. They use that 3 or 4, but they didn't use it all 5. So kind of doing structuring on that based on, I can't remember how many weeks, but this should actually lower what they paid compared to what they paid this year.
Is that a weekly cost you're saying?
So if they did the little diamond, $240 for 5 nights.
So a week, so if it's an 8,
So you're right. So the big diamond, if they're only using it 2 days a week or 2 days a week that's $98 for those 2 days that week. So yeah, that's based off a weekly. You looking at how long their schedule was.
yeah, I'm seeing when my kids were, because they have practices before too. So.
Right.
Let's see.
Because that may be maybe 12 weeks.
I mean, I'm back into March. I know April 9th there was practice,
Okay.
and they went up through end of June
June.
at least.
Because they had a couple games. I think they had a game that or
The Saturday of the July 4th.
4th,
thing,
which was actually in
28th.
June. So we got what?
Yeah, because I think that was
April,
basically the week after
May, June.
spring
So that's
break.
basically 12 weeks, I think. And I think when I did my math, I based off that 12-week period. And like I said, if I was thinking right, how many days they actually use that, like the big diamond and everything like that, I think their cost will come in slightly lower than it did this year. But it opens up to allow other organizations to come in and use that. Hey, we got one team wants to come in, or one group wants to come in 1 night a week or something like that. It opens it up. So, hey, it's open on Thursdays. This diamond's open on Thursdays for this 12-week period. There's nobody scheduled. So that another group would come in 12-week same time period too. So if like somebody wants to start a softball league, it opens it up, that big diamond, for that kind of activities.
What was the total flat cost last year? Was it 4? Is that what it was?
$4,000, yep, $4,000 for all.
So yeah, I'm coming up with a little bit more maybe than what they paid, but
Oh, you're coming up with a little bit more, yeah.
yeah.
And it may be a little bit more. I can't remember. Just depending on how many days they actually use the diamonds, and if they use Saturdays or not Saturdays, and
Right.
but it's just we got to have this discussion, and it's one of those things. Again, our budget is half of what it was this year.
I assume the concession stand and electric hookup would not be charged to the actual Ossian League, just for outside groups.
Just outside
Yeah.
groups, correct? Yep. So that's correct. Again, it's the discretion of the board, and for the league, we'll kind of waive, especially since the wooden one, it's theirs and they're using it. But if somebody else wants to come in and use it, if we have to turn the electric on, or have to have somebody else come in, and that's just what that covers for.
I mean, I like this better than the per player
Correct.
piece that we had last year. That just doesn't make a lot of sense to me, to charge per T-ball kid, right? Like,
Right.
they're not doing a whole lot of wear and tear to the fields that are just grass.
Right.
So this makes more sense to me.
And that's where I try to structure it a little bit that way. And it's, anybody have any other ideas or discussion about that, or? Like I said, in no means this is the way we have to go, but like I said, just to definitely open up that discussion of we need to do something for next year, and this gives us a good start, whether or not we change the fees up, depending on how everybody else thinks on that. Is this something we want to discuss also next month, or is this something we can just present to the town council, like, hey, this is the fee structure we're gonna go with, and
It looks pretty good.
We'll go with it.
Charging anything for the tennis courts and the condition they're in and stuff, but
I
I
know,
don't think anybody's gonna
but-
want those.
no. And that's what I say, we just have to have something in place that, hey, if you do want to, this is what's gonna cost you, and we can go into it saying, hey, the fee to rent it is to fix the issues that we have going on. Without charging anything, we can't do anything, so. Yeah, if this is what we want to present to the town council, I just need a motion and a second on that, if we want to go that route.
Motion for it.
I'll second.
I got a motion and a second on the table. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Okay. I will present that to town council tonight then, and see what they think. Yeah, I'll get this budget out to you guys tonight. I'll get that emailed over. Year to date, looking like we've spent a total of trying to read the numbers here. So we spent, so far this year, we've spent 45,000, a little over 45,000 in total for the parks. And we still got 28,000 left. So look at these numbers compared to what we got budget for next year. It's gonna be an interesting year for next year.
Well, the band fees will be cheaper for next year.
What?
Didn't
The
come out
band
of the
fees will
budget.
be cheaper.
Right.
Right, that's not even reflected in that.
No, that's not even reflected, because that's all,
Oh, really?
that's all donations,
Yeah.
so that's
Oh,
not
okay.
reflected in our budget at all. So yeah, that's all outside of,
Okay.
yeah. All right, anybody else have anything else to, oh, I guess the last thing on the agenda is board members for 2026. Ben and John, you're both up at the end of this year, so if you guys want to reapply, just email a letter to Crystal to say you want to redo it.
Okay. You still have the first one?
Right.
I'll just forward, change the date and
Yeah,
forward.
just-
Like
right.
I did last time.
If you want to do that, you can, but if you guys are interested in staying on the board, we just need their letter of intent
Can't
to
believe it. Shoot.
All
do
right.
that again. Michael, what's your thoughts of, I know you talked about.
There you go, sir.
All right.
So I will be trying to step off the board at the end of this year, just with family commitments and all the other stuff going on. So it's been a couple of years, and I feel like we've got some interest from others in the community to kind of join. So that'll be my plan, and trying to get it moving now so you can
Right.
find somebody for a January.
Yeah, and that's why I was I know Michael's hitting that in the past about he wants to spend more time with his kids, got a new little one this year, so you're up to 4 kids?
5.
5, see? He's
And
got
I'm coaching basketball now, and I'll have to coach basketball in January, 2 teams, and I might have to coach volleyball. We'll just see where it all
There you go.
goes. So I'm actually supposed to be in basketball practice right now.
yeah. All right.
And Norwalk?
Awesome.
Awesome. All right, so I kind of figured, so Crystal, if we can get at least advertised for park board position open, start getting that advertised now. I know the town council likes to wait till the last minute to do that stuff. If we can get that on our schedule and start looking for it now, hopefully we get some interest before next year starts. So it was Ben and John, if you guys want to renew, just send Crystal your letter of intent to continue on the board.
Oh, can you get me Larry's phone number again?
Yeah, I'll get you that
And
here
I
after a
can't-
minute.
I can't remember what her name is at the nursing home, but
Message you again.
she misplaced it. So.
Okay. All right, anything else for the good of the board for tonight's meeting? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Do I have a second?
Second.